99X in the Morning X, Barnes and Leslie. Fram, I asked you this before. You've never been to any kind of nudist event, right?
I haven't. I'm actually intrigued because I'm very shy.
Well, we have a couple of guests that are not shy at all. Simon and Helen Berryman, who are in the UK, and they take part in many of these events. But there's some curiosity, I'm sure, out there around the stigma of being involved in nudist events. And they were on this cruise called Bare Necessities.
It's a great name for a nudie cruise.
Hey, Helen and Simon, how are you?
Hiya.
Hello, how you doing?
Doing great. And, it's sad that Leslie, and we're seeing them from the UK via Zoom. It's really a bummer that Leslie has never been to a nude event. So if you guys could turn your cameras on.
They are absolutely 100% naked.
Leslie, you now can say you've been to a nudist event.
I have on our show on the Morning X.
Exactly.
Yes, it's our living room now.
I know. And as you guys sit there nude, this isn't out of the norm, right? I mean, this is just another day for you all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're naked, weather dependent, really. So if it's warm enough, then we don't bother getting dressed.
It seems like there's a photo behind you of the two of you.
Nude.
Nude, and your behinds looking over the ocean.
Yes, that was on the cruise.
That was part of the Bare Necessities cruise. That was taken in the Bahamas.
So this whole culture is so interesting. And this Bare Necessities cruise, where did that go out of? Tampa?
Yes.
Yes, that's right. It sailed to Antigua. Yes, back via the Bahamas.
And you guys are just naked the whole time, but is everyone naked the whole time?
Not the whole time. There are certain areas that you can't be naked, such as the main dining rooms. But pretty much.
And if we docked at ports, we weren't to be naked. We had to dress for that.
Yeah, if it was a town port, we had to be dressed when visible from outside.
So at dinner, are people just wearing like regular clothes, or do you just have a towel wrapped around you? How does that work?
Well, there was a communal area where we could be naked, but it's naturist etiquette to sit on something, so either a sarong or a towel.
Okay.
But in the dining rooms, then you're encouraged to put your fancy clothes on.
Yes. Yeah, some people do actually like to dress up for dinner. But, if you did turn up just wrapped in a sarong, that would be acceptable.
I do have to say, we are face-to-face with two nudists, naturists, and Leslie is looking completely the other direction this entire interview so far. She has received zero eye contact from these two.
I saw the photo. I told you I saw the photo.
I know. You were looking up. She was looking
I'm curious, what sort of activities are there on this cruise? Like,
Leslie.
badminton, like what's happening on this cruise?
There's too much moving with that, isn't there?
The same that would happen on any cruise.
Yeah, the fact that we're without clothes on is kind of irrelevant. So that's the whole purpose and point of naturism, really.
Someone commented, and I want your opinion on this. Someone commented on this cruise, on this Bare Necessities naked cruise, and they said, and I was surprised that they said this out loud. They must not be a true naturist. They were down to saying 60% of the people were unattractive.
Well, that's mean.
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It really is a bad, thing to come out and talk about that you
Attraction.
purchased.
Yes. Absolutely. Personally, attraction is shorthand for sexual attraction. And one thing that naturists go to great lengths to explain is that nudity and sex are two entirely different things. And they're far too often confused in law and social media policies or whatever. But nudity is not sexual.
And this is why people snigger so much, because they don't understand that. They assume that nudity is sexual.
So someone that sees this Bare Necessities cruise, you're not going thinking, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to have sex the whole time. This is really
You'll
just...
be disappointed if you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
See?
no,
Okay. We're just setting the record straight, Barnes.
Wouldn't that be a swingers cruise?
Exactly.
In all
Yes,
seriousness?
Bare Necessities sort of spell out that if anything like that is seen in the public areas, you're off the ship at the next port.
Well, we have a guy that used to work here. His name is Crash. We can have him on and talk about those other types of cruises.
We could do that.
Would be one that he would be on. Yes, frequently.
When did the two of you become? You don't call it nudists anymore, right? You just call it naturist.
Well, we refer to ourselves as naturists. Yeah,
Okay.
there's a distinct sort of perceived difference anyway. Certainly
In the UK.
in the UK and Europe, nudists is more seen as someone who just likes to be naked, whereas naturists is more of a life philosophy about being more in touch with yourself and just accepting your body and everybody else around you.
But Simon, you were into it first, right? I read that you guys met, and Helen, you were not a naturist.
Oh no, I was quite against it. I thought it was very odd. I couldn't understand what it was all about. And like everybody else, I kind of thought it was just weird. Like, why would you?
Well, then why did you?
It wasn't until I went along to a naturist type place and saw for myself that it wasn't sexual. There's no judgment. Everyone is just nice. You know, your judgment is left behind on the floor with your clothes.
Yes.
And you could speak to somebody that you wouldn't ordinarily speak to because you're all the same. Nudity is a leveler.
Yes, we use the phrase sort of the billionaire next to the binman. You know, no one would know what each other does for a living. There's no sort of classist assumptions. Everyone is just themselves.
And we find clothing to be rather a judgment tool.
Yes, yeah, people do get very judgmental when other people are dressed, and you know, I've only got to look at the red carpet of the Oscars the other night.
Well, so then what brought you to the other side, Helen? What was the moment where you're like, okay, that's it, I'm stripping down?
I was seeing it for myself.
Yeah.
Just seeing it. That was it. You're like, game on.
People were with each other and just nice. You know, people were nice to each other, and it was wonderful to see.
You've got to be really in the environment to understand it. No, yeah, we can talk to people till we're blue in the face, but you will never understand it unless you spend 5 minutes actually at a nudist naturist venue. Then you will see for yourself just how non-sexual and non-judgmental and just how much more friendly an environment it is. And the communities build up, and the bonds and the strengths of the communities are, you know, what bring people back to it.
Yeah, true friendships are formed.
We're talking with Helen and Simon Berryman. How can people, because I know you're advocates for this and you do a podcast, how can people get in touch with you? Is there a website or Instagram site? Where can we find you?
The podcast is called Women in Focus, and that's available on all the normal podcasts.
Yeah, that's part of British Naturism. Because Helen volunteers for British Naturism, and also we have our own independent channel, which we're another side interest is I'm a bit of a technology geek, and I have a bunch of old computer games and consoles. So we have a bit of a sideline, the Naked Retro Gamers. Where we just play old games.
And I beat him.
Yeah. And
play old games naked.
Yes. Well, we happen to be naked anyway. We're not going out of our way to dress just for the sake of making a video.
You said it's weather dependent. I mean, in the UK, that would be a lot of months where it's probably not so comfortable.
It's pretty seasonal.
Yeah, and Simon, I'm thinking your measurements change by the month.
Wouldn't notice.
It's a little rough in the cold.
They're saving a lot of money on having to purchase clothes, Barnes.
I know. I hear you. All right,
And
guys.
laundry.
And laundry, yes.
What else do you save? Clothing, laundry.
Environment.
Yeah, there's a huge environmental impact. Yeah.
Have you ever forgotten and went to go run an errand and just walked out of your house and you're naked?
Oh, yes. We have a large out-of-town supermarket called Sainsbury's, and I had driven all the way to the car park before I realised I didn't have any clothes on.
You went that far?
Yeah, well, Barnes, it's a way of life.
True. I guess
come on.
You don't notice. All right, well, enjoy your nakedness. And if you're interested in the Bare Necessities cruise, you can look it up. It goes out of Tampa, or maybe they change different ports, but that's where it went the last time. All right, Simon, Helen, great to meet you.
Thank you.
Great to meet you too.
Great to meet you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.